Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. Amma ba'd. My dear brothers and sisters, we are truly living in strange times where a lot of our time now is being spent in the home. Now, while this is a blessing for a lot of us, it also is a challenge for many of our families. In fact, especially for those people who used to try to deal with conflict and disagreement by avoiding and running away. So, pre-COVID virus time, a lot of us would just get out of the house and we'd escape. We'd go meet up with friends, we'd go out to a cafe, we'd just get out and avoid. Ignore the problem exists, right? And then hope when you get back home things just work itself out and you start the next morning really putting things under the rug. Now we're not in that time where we can escape like that, nor can we avoid. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is putting us in this situation, inshallah ta'ala, to hopefully better address our conflicts and disagreements. And it can really impact the family. And this is an opportunity for husbands and wives, spouses, to really try to elevate and draw near in their bond and their relationship. Now in the Holy Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Rum, verse 21, بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وجعل بينكم مودة ورحمة صدق الله العظيم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and Allah has placed between you both, that's husband and wife, this friendliness, this mawadda, this friendliness, this love, this companionship, this very strong sense of endearment, and rahmah, which is compassion and mercy. Now when we look at the life of the Prophet ﷺ, we see a great example where one of the great Sahabi, Amr ibn al-As, asks the Prophet ﷺ, who is the most beloved to you? Sayyidina Muhammad ﷺ looks to Amr ibn al-As and says, Aisha. And Amr ibn al-As, very surprised, says, okay, well, who next? And then he says, Aisha sallallahu. And then Amr ibn al-As repeats, says, and after? Aisha radiallahu anha. And then Amr ibn al-As said, okay, amongst the men whom? And the Prophet ﷺ responds, Abuha, her father. This is a really amazing thing that the Prophet ﷺ did at a time, especially in traditional Bedouin society, where the mentioning the name of one's wife is considered very shameful in gatherings. So the Prophet ﷺ, living in that time period, mentioning his wife's name, actually introduced something very, very foreign perhaps to many of the Bedouins and the Arab community at that time. So this is something to remember. Also the Prophet ﷺ mentioned her name in her absence, which is one of the greatest signs of holding reverence and esteem for a person, in that you remember them when they're not there. The Prophet ﷺ, in another hadith, the Prophet ﷺ, it's narrated that during one of the battles where they were moving from one place to the next, the Prophet ﷺ told his companions, you guys go ahead, me and Aisha radiallahu anha are going to stay back. And the Prophet ﷺ asked her to come down from the caravan, and the Prophet ﷺ thereafter spoke with her, he joked with her, he had a playfulness, and he wanted to have the quality time for them both at that time. And then he said, let's race. And the Prophet ﷺ was Sayyidah Aisha anha, they both raced. And the Prophet ﷺ during that race won. And he turned to her and said, this is for that last race. That is the race that he lost when Sayyidah Aisha was younger. And they both had a race. Now, next time, we try to call our names, our wife's name, and especially take note when we're upset. What name comes from your mouth? How do you say the name? Sayyidina Muhammad ﷺ used to call Sayyidah Aisha, Ya Aish, Ya Humayra. Terms of endearment. Call a sweet way of addressing his wife. Inshallah ta'ala, I pray that each and every one of our families draws nearer during these times. And may it be a time of blessing, and may it also be a time where Allah increases the love between the husband and wife in each and every one of our homes. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.